Alright now, Big Rod Budnick here. Today, we're going to talk about the Mandela Effect. Are you ready? Do y'all know what the Mandela Effect is? The Mandela Effect, in a nutshell, is when a whole bunch of people remember something the way it was, and all of a sudden it changes, but a certain demographic of people think that's the way it's always been, but it ain't been. Now, the biggest and most obvious one going around today is the Berenstain Bears. That's right, I said Steen. You could say Bernstein Bears, because like Frankenstein, but I've always said Steen, so we're going with Steen, you some bitch. Anyway, the Berenstain Bears. All of a sudden, every book, every movie, even the damn bitches, I'm talking about the old video games of the Berenstain Bears, say Stain on them. And everybody's like, it's always been Stain. It's been Stain since they were created. No, it has not. When I was a kid, I remember looking at my Berenstain Bear books and thinking, how do you say that? I studied Berenstain over and over again as a child, looking at it, and I was like, Bernstein, Bernstein, Bernstein? You know what I'm saying? I remember looking at that word over and over again as a child and being like, how do you pronounce that? How do you say that? You gonna tell me it's always been Stain when I specifically remember trying to figure out if it was Stein or Steen or Baron? It was Berenstain Bears. God damn it. Now, there's other coincidences. Fruit Loops. When I was a children, Fruit Loops used to say Fruit Loops. F-R-U-I-T. Fruit Loops. All of a sudden, it's Fruit Loops. F-R-O-O-T. And everyone's like, it has always been Fruit Loops with two O's. What are you talking about, Big Rod? And I said, no, it hadn't been, you dumb son of a bitch. When I was a kid, it said fruit on it. But now, when I go back and look at them old boxes on the internet and such, I look them up, trying to find me one, they all have the two O's. It used to be fruit as in fruit. There's other things. Forrest Gump. I have watched Forrest Gump. That is a fine goddamn movie. Fine. Tom Hanks is a master of the screen. Lieutenant Dan is funnier than hell. Anyway, when you think Forrest Gump, as many times as most people have seen that movie, hundreds of times. Anyway, when you think of Forrest Gump, do you think life is like, well, hang on, let me say the whole thing. Mama always said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Doesn't that just ring off your ears? Isn't that perfect? Every time you think of Forrest Gump, you think of that line. That's the way you say it, right? I saw it on the TV the other day, and guess what they said? Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Does that sound right to you? Huh? Why would he be talking about life in the past tense when the son of a bitch is alive? He said, Mama always said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Some bullshit right there. Bullshit. I know it is. I've seen that movie. I know it is. I know that movie back to front and front to back. Jinday, I know that movie now. You can't tell me I don't. I know my business. Now why all of a sudden would he say was instead of is? It's some goddamn bullshit. And not only that, these Bible verses that have changed over the years. They have changed. Bible verses have changed, and I'm not talking about in new iterations, if that is the word I'm looking for, and new iterations, it's got to be iterations, and new iterations of the Bible. Of course things have changed, but I'm talking about, you get out your Old Testament, older than shit, wrote in the 40s, Bible verses in there has changed. They're not saying what they used to say. What's going on? What is going on? Now, I have a theory. Have y'all heard of CERN? CERN is this place. They got these accelerators under the ground where they is blowing up particles. They said they're trying to smash particles together to see into other dimensions and to see if they could create black matter, wormholes, or black holes. Now, I started noticing all this. Here, in the middle of summer sometime, they said, that's it. We're about to set off our biggest particle exploder yet. And we're going to see what happens. Now, the day that particle explosion went off, nobody reported on it. Nobody ever even said it happened. But I remember the date that they told me. Since that date, I've noticed these small changes. I think when that particle exploder went off, with help from shadow government, shadow peoples, and alien beings and the Illuminati in on it. The reason I say that the Illuminati's in on that because they have, outside of the CERN facilities, they have statues of old gods. Not our Jesus, not our Lord and Savior. But they have statues of gods of destruction, death, and evil. All outside that place. And Illuminati symbolism plaguing the land over by CERN. Now, when that particle explosion went off, they didn't report it, they didn't say nothing, they never even told us what happened. But now I'm noticing all these little changes out here. When it went off, I think that they did create something. They created something evil. They broke our dimension, and we are now living in another dimension that wasn't our own. But there's only small changes, so we barely notice. But I think we have jumped, skipped dimensions. We ain't in our own dimension right now. Because CERN, Illuminati, Mandela Effect, and bullshits. I remember the way things used to be. You can't tell me that Bernstein Bears is Bernstein. You can't tell me that life is like a box of chocolates as life was like a box of chocolates. You can't tell me that Fruit Loops is now Fruit Loops. And you can't tell me that that one movie didn't say, if you build it, they will come. Because now it says, if you build it, they will play. You can't tell me this shit ain't true. I remember things. I don't know what's going on no more.